When working on a project in a large development team, multiple people work on different parts of the application at the same time. Most of the time, this means that part of your code must call a function from another part that your colleague has created. While helpful, this also opens a possibility for the code to throw an error. So how do you deal with that? Swift's error handling system has a concept called do-catch that can be used. In this video, you'll explore how to use do-catch to catch thrown errors. Suppose that the development of the Little Lemon restaurant application is divided between multiple people. You are tasked with creating user registration views while your colleague develops functionality to validate the data provided by the user. So why does your colleague's work matter? Well, you may find yourself needing to call a function to validate the registration details a user has provided in your view. Now suppose the function has been defined as a throwable function by another developer, and as a result, you have to handle all the potential errors using do-catch. The do-catch statement consists of multiple code blocks, one after another. The first is always prefixed with the do keyword, and any number of the following blocks are all prefixed with the catch keyword. If an error is thrown by code inside of a do block, it's matched against the catch blocks to determine which one of them can handle the error that occurred. Catch blocks work like switch statements, but for errors. Like a switch statement, a catch block requires a default case, and the default case is a catch block that doesn't list any errors. If no previous catch blocks list an error, it will be caught by the default catch block. Each separate catch block lists the specific types of errors it will be dealing with. Because the default catch block doesn't list errors explicitly, a variable called error is available automatically to examine what error occurred. Consider some code which calls a validate user details throwable function and handles any errors that it throws. The function call is inside the do block in a try expression. This expression puts the keyword try before a call to a throwable function. Whenever the function throws an error, the execution immediately transfers to the first catch block that can handle the particular error. In this case, the default catch block will handle all the errors. Now, how do you get the registration form to feed back to the user when they failed to fill out the required fields, especially if there's more than one? You also need to take into consideration that another developer already wrote the function that will throw a different custom error for each of the conditions. To further investigate this dilemma, let's move on to a demonstration of handling errors to perform specific required actions. To begin, let's suppose your colleague created a validate user details function and defined the custom errors that it can throw. The function has username and password as its arguments, both of type string. Then it performs three checks: if username is empty, if password is empty, or if password is less than 7 characters, throw a custom error. The defined enumeration conforms to an error protocol and includes the 3 error cases mentioned that could be thrown in the function. Now let's explore how to call the function and handle the potential errors. First, define a do block. Then inside the do block, insert a try expression followed by the validate user details function call. Next, set the username, for instance, John Appleseed, an example, as a password. After the validation call, print a validation success message. Next, let's add the first catch block right after the do block ends to catch 2 username empty and password empty errors. To do this, add an empty catch block. Then, to catch specific errors inside it, list them separated by commas immediately after the catch keyword. In this case, you would want to catch username empty and password empty errors. Then, insert a print statement that will print the username and password should not be empty message. For the last error, declare another catch block that will catch the password too short case. This time, only insert the password too short error that it will catch. Then, add a print statement inside the block to display a password is too short message. Finally, add a general third catch block at the end to deal with the rest of any other errors that might be thrown. Let's add a print statement printing that an error was caught. Remember that if the catch block does not list any errors, it will automatically create an error variable that can be used. Let's run the code. The validation success message is returned. Next, let's explore what happens if you provide an empty username in the function call. This time, when the code is executed, the success message is no longer visible. The username and password should not be empty message displays instead. This is because an error was thrown, illustrating that the do-catch blocks work as intended. Today you've learned about a do-catch concept to handle thrown errors in code. You learned that throwable functions have to be placed inside a do block in a try expression, and that any error thrown inside a do block will be matched to the first catch block that will handle it. You have also explored an intricate example of how to use a throwable function that someone else wrote to handle different requirements of your application.